Coach Scotty B, Baylor King. You might also know me as the Dancing Dude or the Fresh Prince of Waco. At the Baylor pregame press conference last year, you said some mean things about Baylor that had Baylor fans pretty upset with you. You said the Baylor secondary, quote, couldn't cover a Burger King tab with a stolen credit card and called them slower than free shipping. Referring to Baylor, you ended the press conference saying, quote, their ass. Do you regret saying those things or do you stand by those comments?
Thanks, Scotty. I really love your dancing videos on YouTube, and congratulations on winning the Skip Goring Fan of the Year for 2021-2022. Much deserved. But yeah, I wanted to take a minute to apologize for what I said about Baylor last year. We were coming off a game where our AD cussed out Caleb Lohner on the field before the game about the color of his undershirt and physically got into it with Morgan Scaley after the game. So I was in a pretty foul mood at last year's Baylor press conference and said some things I probably shouldn't have said. And for that, I apologize to you, Baylor King, and to all Baylor fans.
Travis Roeder, retired Sikkim 365 writer who writes just as much as before, but now does it for free. I tell people that your team is a real football guy's team to watch. Great fundamentals, physicality, tackling, and tenacity. You have the kind of program I'm thinking about when I talk about how so much of college defense comes down to playing assignment sound physical football.
3 hours later.
And facing a defense that employs a jack and a star. Coach, I guess I'm wondering, who do you think is the greatest college football coach of all time, and why is it you?
Next question.
Coach, Grayson Grundhafer, Sikkim 365's most valuable and indispensable asset on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being Michael Jordan good and 10 being any San Antonio Spur in history great. How do you rate this year's Baylor team?
You know, although their record is probably not going to be as good as last year, I think this year's team is much improved. You know, what they lack in intensity and care factor at the start of games, they make up for with lack of discipline and untimely turnovers as the game progresses. They had an impressive win against UCF, and who am I kidding? UCF sucks worse than a hooker with a trach tube. I don't know what's going on with their defense, but over the course of this season, they've made more adjustments than a chiropractor, and nothing they do works. They generate less hits than the Bahama men. They are less prepared for what they are about to see than the co-eds who receive pictures I text them. So they end up coming from behind more than Ron Jeremy. And despite all the talent on their offense, their drives end worse than the Immortal Tens did. In the end, their problems come from the top. I love Dave, but he coaches like he's watching porn with mom. Awkward, uncomfortable, and not expecting a happy ending. And on second thought, I stand by what I said last year. Their ass.